Hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Shield, and I want to welcome you to this podcast. It is so nice to see everybody. It is almost winter. We are having a massive cold front coming in. And thank God I'm going to California in a few days to escape the cold and hang out with all of my coaching friends in Coronado. So I am really looking forward to getting out of here. Our move to Santa Fe during the pandemic was wonderful. It was a great choice, but I left Los Angeles after almost 30 years for the cold and freezing winters of New Mexico. So I can't wait to get out of here. By the way, if you have a second and you want to learn more about me, please go to lisashield.com, check out my success stories page, and click the button to watch my free 45-minute presentation. I think you'll find it illuminating. So today I want to talk about how to let go of your exes once and for all. This is a very hot topic for the women in our program. And I just want to say that I think our approach is unique. And I think what you're going to hear from me today, some of it might surprise you. So I first want to say that it can be very, very hard. Let's just acknowledge how hard it can be to let go of a relationship that didn't work, somebody that you truly loved, that you've invested a piece of your life in that relationship, hoping that you would have marriage, you'd find love and partnership and somebody who would be what we call a guardian of your soul. And maybe you gave it your all. Maybe it's the best relationship you've ever had. Most of these relationships, many of our relationships, they start out really well. You know, we meet somebody, maybe today we meet them online, and that person can sweep us off our feet. We might think, oh my God, this is amazing. I've never felt this way before. Nobody's ever gotten me like he does. Somebody is writing, Diane said, oh my God, one ghosted me last year. In the summer, unexpected, he wanted me, but I wasn't putting in any effort, nor did I want to become emotionally available. So these guys will actually sweep into your life. And then the moment you start to fall for them, a lot of them will literally, once they've won your heart, once they've pulled you in, they will turn as quickly and they will ghost you. And often, as Diane wrote, they will come back. And the best thing you can possibly do is not let them in again, not let them back in. Close that door for good and keep it shut. Once a guy ghosts you and does this, unless he comes back and says, oh my gosh, I had a terrible event in my life and I just didn't know how to handle it and whatever. But most healthy adult human beings do not get into a relationship and then suddenly disappear. And if it happens once, it will happen again. The hardest thing of all is that there's this part of us that wants redemption. We want things to work out. We want to feel like what we felt in the beginning was real. And it is so hard to accept the demise of a relationship, to really sit back and say, okay, this wasn't what I thought it would be. And to really understand that maybe he has more work to do, maybe you have more work to do, but that it really wasn't meant to be. And it doesn't mean that all of those wonderful feelings that you may have felt when you met somebody, that all of those things are not for real and that you can't have them with the right guy, but you have to know how to find the right guy. So let's talk about how you let go of a man. Like, but why do we hold on? Why do we hold on? I think one of the reasons we hold on is because it's very, very hard to admit that it's not going to work, that you may not be a good fit, and that there may be no reconciliation. There may be no way to actually bring your two lives together, that you really do have irreconcilable differences. And that's a very real thing. Sometimes two very good people can meet, but it doesn't mean that in the long run, even if they had a wonderful connection in the beginning, that they're meant to be together forever. And it can be very hard to let go of that dream. The second or another reason why it's hard to let go of a relationship is because we've invested so much in it. We've invested time. I know in my marriage, I spent 13 years, a total of 13 years. We were married for 5, but I spent a lot of time in that relationship. And it was very, very hard to walk away, to admit that we just were not getting anywhere, going anywhere in our lives, and that it was time to just see the writing on the wall and leave. I also was very familiar with my ex-husband. There were things I truly loved about him. I loved his sense of humor. I loved his creativity, his spontaneity, his off the wallness. There were things, I don't even know if that's a word, but there were things I really loved about him. And I'm sure if you all look at your relationships and the men that you've loved and lost, there were certainly, no matter how bad those relationships may have been in the end, there were certainly things that you loved about that person that were very, very hard to let go of. Even just the companionship, knowing that there was someone there for you, those things are very hard to let go of. I do think one of the big reasons we hold on and we have a very hard time letting go is because maybe it was the best relationship you've ever had. Maybe you had feelings for this person that you've not had for anyone before. And it seems like, oh my gosh, I waited 25 or 30 or 40 years to feel that way about someone. Will I ever feel those feelings again? Will I ever feel that way for another man when I waited so long just to find this one? So we cling to somebody even when it's bad, even when that person doesn't want what we have to offer, even when we know it's not right. We often cling to that because we think, oh my God, will I ever find someone like that again? And I think the biggest thing of all is that subconsciously or consciously, we really wonder, how am I going to prevent myself from making the same mistakes again? If I leave this person or if this relationship ends, how will I stop that from happening again? How will I go out and find a true partner and be able to find a man who I know this time is safe and secure, and that he'll be faithful, that he is honest and true, and that he's not going to turn around after some months or some years and say, oh, I really don't want to get married, or I don't want to have children. Or worse, he may turn out to be abusive or an alcoholic, an addict, or a narcissist. And we think to ourselves, oh, I went through this and I'm clear now and I'm never going to make those mistakes again. But truthfully, most of us don't know how to prevent those mistakes from happening again because we haven't done any work in this part of our lives to stop it from happening. And, it's not just doing work on ourselves. We can sit in a therapist's office and process and talk about the mistakes we made. And we can really say to ourselves, oh, okay, I'm better now and I feel ready to find my guy. But then if you don't do the right work, and I'm not talking about just personal growth work, this is a mistake so many of us make, myself included. I spent many, many, many years of my life doing personal growth work. But doing personal growth work is not the same as learning how to connect with men and learning how to choose the right man. So you can go to workshops, you can go to therapy, you can read books and all, and you can still turn around and say, wow, I keep becoming a better and better version of me, but I still haven't found the right guy. I still don't feel comfortable sitting across from a man on a date. I don't know how to ask for what I want from a man or need from a man. I don't know how to choose good partners. This is a whole separate skill set. And most people do not understand that working on you is not the same as understanding how to connect with men. So that's the work I do with my clients. I show them a step by step roadmap for finding what I call a guardian of your soul. Now, I happen to believe that the most important and best decision a woman can make is to sign up to work with us right after a breakup. And a lot of you are thinking, but I need to go to therapy. I need to spend time healing. I need to process and figure out what went wrong. Well, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in that line of thinking. And I'm going to tell you that the reason why you keep getting hurt, the reason why you keep meeting the same guy over and over again and turning around and getting ghosted or getting sucked into a relationship with a narcissist or with an addict, it's because there are things you don't know about this part of your life. And even if you process and you feel better and you go to a therapist and you work through, oh, I didn't know better, or I made mistakes, I have to forgive myself. You can do all the self-forgiveness in the world and you can forgive him and you can understand that he was a narcissist or he was a jerk or he's emotionally unavailable or he's avoidant, he has avoidant personality disorder. You can understand all of these things and still not know how to date, how to tell if a man is emotionally available when he's sitting across from you. You won't know how to connect with a man and create that deep, emotionally naked connection that is the foundation for lasting love. And so you could go out and after all that therapy and all that healing and all, more years of your life will go by. In fact, I don't even consider the time when a relationship ends as the end of the relationship. I actually consider the end of a relationship when you actually let him go. So many of you can be in a relationship for a year, but then you can still be processing and recovering from that relationship for another 2 years or 5 years. So you've actually spent 6 years in that relationship, 6 years, not one. We have a woman in our course right now, and it's so amazing. She came on a group call and she was sharing on the call. She said, Lisa, I had the most amazing experience. I was talking to somebody, and that woman said, what do you need to still let go of? And she was like, what do you mean? And she said, there's something you still need to let go of that's blocking you. And she said, she did one of the exercises in our course and she realized, oh my gosh, the person I'm still holding on to is my ex. I'm still idealizing that relationship. I'm still holding on to him. And this was many years later. And she realized by putting all the pieces together that this man was emotionally unavailable. He wrote to her and he said, "There's something I need to tell you." And normally she wouldn't have responded, but she did. And, she said, "He's either calling to see how I'm doing or to tell me that he's getting married," right? He had met someone and he was getting married. And sure enough, he was getting married. And she said, "Lisa, I couldn't believe it. Prior to doing this work, I would have been so upset and I wouldn't have been able to get over it." And she said, "I was happy for him. I was actually happy for him. And she said, and he invited me to the reception." And she said, "Normally I would have said no." And she said, "I'm going to go. I might even meet someone there." So that was the difference. And she said, "I never would have gotten here if I hadn't been doing this work. And I didn't even know I was still holding on to this guy." So we see women who come into the course, and what is so beautiful, especially for the women who are in our upper level courses, like our mid tier, which is called, we have a 12-week an initial 12-week course, and then we do our mid tier, which is called the Sisterhood of Self-Actualized Women, that's SSW. And then we have our mastermind course, The Mastery of Love, where the women work directly with Benjamin and me. And what is so incredible is that we watch these women, they meet a guy, they think, okay, maybe I've met the guardian of my soul, and he turns out to be an imposter. And because they're working with us and we are helping them see the light, identify what's going on quickly, they're able to move on from these men, often men who are the best guys they've ever dated in many respects, but who actually turn out to be what we call imposters, men who really don't have what they thought they were looking for. And they move on so fast. They move on faster than they ever could have imagined because of the work they're doing with us. And they're not sitting and processing and going over and over and over the relationship with a therapist week after week, or sitting in a course to talk to their inner child and do self-soothing. They're actually identifying why the relationship didn't work. They're able to separate themselves so fast and they move on. And then, usually, after they have one of these really pivotal relationships, they meet the guardian of their soul. The very next guy is the one. And there is something so empowering from being able to go into a relationship and come out the other side and go through a heartbreak and be able to recover quickly and keep moving on. And our women don't get stuck. They don't get stuck because they have the tools. Even the women who are still processing through a breakup will say, in fact, one of my clients who is still struggling to let go of her ex, a number of the women in the course said, "Lisa, maybe, they put in the chat in a group call, you should go and see a therapist." And I said, "Well, I can refer you to one, but I really think staying in our program, working with us and continuing to work with us would be the best solution." And she said, "Yeah, I've been to therapy. I've been to many therapists. I haven't accomplished in all my years of therapy what I've done in the last 2 months working with you." So everybody's process is different. Some people move a little faster, some people move a little slower. But the goal is not to sit there and keep going over the past. You can sit there and process and process and process. What you're looking for is a step-by-step roadmap that gives you all of the pieces of the puzzle to understand how to pick the right men, to know what went wrong in the past, to uncover your blocks, the repeating patterns, that the choices you keep making and the lessons that you're not learning, to identify what those are, get clear, create your non-negotiable list that I call your final five, get the right pictures, the right profile, and get your butt back online and start moving forward. The one thing we don't have is time to waste. And with the right roadmap that gives you everything you need to get this right, you could be with the guardian of your soul in 3 to 18 months by doing this course. So don't keep going back. Don't keep processing. Don't keep staying in healing mode. You can get out there. In fact, the best time to do this work on yourself is when it's up, right? When it's right in your face. If you do healing work, all that's going to happen is you're going to feel better. You're going to get some distance from what happened. You'll compartmentalize it. And then all of those feelings, you'll put a glossy spin on it. You'll feel better. And then more time will go by. But when it's up for you, when it's fresh, when the wound is gaping and open and raw, that's the best time to do this work on yourself. So I'm going to say it one more time. Go to lisashield.com, click the button, watch our free 45-minute presentation, hop over to our success stories page and read about other women like you who found true love by working with us. And rate and like this podcast. If you have suggestions for us, send us an email. You can send that to podcast@lisashield.com. We read all of your emails and we really take them seriously. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And I think that's all I have for you today. All right, everybody. I send you so much love. I thank you for being here. This was a short one, but a good one. And please tell your sisters and mothers and brothers and aunts and uncles and fathers and mothers and nieces, nephews, girlfriends, guy friends about this podcast. I do an episode with my husband called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind. My friends watch it, my girlfriends, their husbands listen to that one with Benjamin and me. And finally, if you really love what we're talking about and you just want to get this solved, you don't need another learning experience. You want a step-by-step roadmap for finding true love now. Then again, go to lisashield.com, watch our free 45-minute presentation, and book a breakthrough call to talk to me or a member of my team so we can show you how we can help you find the guardian of your soul. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.